Hi, Tony Selzer here. Welcome to Galvanize. I got Dustin Rule here on our little podcast about really personal development, growth, hardening your mindset, harden your business, harden your future, really, for financial growth. So one of the things that we're really excited to talk about today is one of my favorite subjects, right? So I had a startup here about 18 years ago. Actually, we're out of Anderson, Indiana. We were doing,
Anderson?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was raised $3 million in Anderson. That was tough. So technology startup. We were talking to Garage Ventures, which is a big deal, kind of a VC firm out of Silicon Valley. And this 20-some-year-old pompous MBA was on the phone with us, and he basically said, Indiana, what the hell is in Indiana? What kind of talent do you guys have there? You guys can't even get your time right.
A lot of people say, the West Coasters say, I fly over that market to go to New
Or
York.
the flyover states. You get it, right? I mean, and what was interesting is really the positive revolution that Indianapolis has gone through in particular, right? I mean, we are fighting out of our punching weight when it comes to technology, business growth, development, the crane factor. I talked to you about the crane factor, right? I mean, we have a lot of cranes up in the city, up in Carmel, up in Fishers, building taller buildings, a lot taller buildings than I've ever seen in 2 decades of living here that are growing this market. And part of it is we turn out more IT engineers than any other state in the nation, more technology, more engineers in general. And so there's a lot of the talent gap that has left, a lot of the talent void where people would graduate and leave or now think about growing families here. Yeah. And they're coming back, right? They're coming back. They're starting businesses. It's one of the reasons downtown's so vibrant. But what do you see from the real estate side? Why is Indianapolis such a cool and high coveted value as a real estate investor?
A couple things happened, I think, in the last 10 years that were big transitions or big, exploding pieces for our economy. Was number one, Salesforce bought out Exact Target. A lot of people cashed out of that.
Yep.
And have gone on and start new tech companies.
And we got a lot of visibility because of it.
We did. And Salesforce is obviously just did a $12 billion merger or purchase. I don't know. I forget the name of the company.
They're usually buying their young.
Yeah. That's a big, but obviously that's a lot of cash. And then the second was obviously having the Super Bowl. And obviously when people visited, it was probably one of the warmest winters we've ever had.
It was, and downtown got ready for it. And downtown is killer right now. I mean, it is clean, it is safe, the restaurant life is beautiful, the nightlife is getting better. I mean, it's no New York, it's no Austin, but it's the safety of it offsets the fact that there's really a food scene now that really wasn't when we got here. Mass Ave is the whole area is developing, and there's you can really have a downtown lifestyle. You can have an urban lifestyle.
It's complete revitalization. And at one point, I think I saw a statistic, I think it was about 5 years ago, where Indianapolis, next to Detroit, had the highest per capita vacant homes in the country.
Yeah.
Investors obviously
38th Street all the way down to 8th Street.
Yeah, and investors have capitalized on that. Yep. And we still got a long ways to go, which I think is a lot of opportunity. And I think you're seeing that amongst a lot of Midwest cities. You're seeing a lot of revitalization. There's some cities.
Do you think we're just ahead of that curve?
I think we're just ahead of it because of some of the things I just mentioned. It'd be awesome to get a Major League Baseball team here. So we do have a great
football
AAA Indianapolis Indians ballpark. This beautiful stadium.
Yep, they do a great job.
Yeah, right next to the Marriott.
Yep.
New Marriott that they built. Eli Lilly obviously here, which is they've been.
Well, we got a lot of headquarters moving into town, right? I mean, the cost of living is the best out of any NFL city, right? So you're looking at we do this. We compete on the East and the West Coast with our technology company all the time because we're 40% cheaper, 30 to 40% cheaper than what they do.
Yeah.
The work ethic is strong. The quality of life here is really well.
Something to add to that was my sister and my brother-in-law worked at Salesforce, and one of the things that they told me was they started obviously relocating people from the West Coast to Indianapolis. And obviously, to your point at the very beginning of the show, we talked about what's Indianapolis, and so these executives be like, I don't want to move to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Really? I'll go there for 6 months, but that's it.
Yep.
Well, they came here, and they started living here, and then they started looking like, are you kidding me? I can buy this level of home
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
My kids can go to these schools and
Yeah.
not have to pay for
They
it.
sold their 1,200 square foot condo and
Oh.
they bought a 4,000 square foot
Correct.
house, right?
And they're moving their families here.
Yep.
So I think it's a diamond in the rough city.
It is.
And it's, I think we've passed that now. I think a lot of people know it. Investors know it now. There's a lot of investors we are working with that don't even live in our market.
Yep.
So
And it's a diversified market. I mean, we talk about the technology, which is emerging, but healthcare is strong here. Logistics is number one. We're within 1 day's drive time of 80% of the continental U.S., so you can ship out of
Yep.
here. So you got an Amazon headquarters here, or one of their smaller
Yeah.
distribution centers here. You got it really is becoming the hub of logistics. Unfortunately, we have a lot of fat people, so healthcare is strong.
that's across the entire country.
Yeah,
Right?
well, Indianapolis tends to be one of the worst.
Okay.
But that's getting stronger. At least 6 years ago, the CIO of the government called Indianapolis Silicon Valley for healthcare. I mean, I don't know if that's an exaggeration, but it speaks to what's going on. The other thing that happened historically, correct me if I'm wrong, the market never really blew up.
No.
And it was not as overvalued as the rest of the country. So when the downturn hit, it didn't really get hit that well, but it became tremendously value. So a lot of that value is still being harvested out of the market. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think there's a reason why investors are in here, not only to rehab and flip homes, but they're here for cash flow. And for whatever reason, our market has always been a really good market for cash flow, price to rent ratios. As much as our values have gone up, the rents have gone up.
Yeah.
And so you can buy a $150,000
'Cause the incomes are
house.
coming up.
Yeah, you can buy a $150,000 house and get $1,500 in rent. So the numbers still work.
Yep, and I think this is also because a lot of the north side is transplants. To your point, a lot of people think that this is not a city they're going to live in. They're not going to, or for the rest of their lives, they're just going to take this job for 2 to 3 years. The rental market is stronger that way because there's a lot of mid-level executives, maybe executives that are renting. And one of our friends and partners, Brian Rowe, he was talking about he's got a actually a really nice house in Geist, and he's been renting for years. And it's a couple of Lilly execs that are expatriates from another country that are here, and they've been renting from him for 3 years because it's easy to get from Geist to downtown to work at Lilly. And I think there's a lot of that dynamics in Indianapolis, which is probably a lot of those dynamics in any Midwest city, right? I mean, but we're early on in the regentrification of the Midwest, and this is probably going to happen in Cincy, St. Louis, Louisville. It's going to happen in a lot of those cities. We're just got ahead, and so there's pockets where now there's entire communities, streets that have gone through this entire regentrification, and now the adjoining neighborhood is now up for that, and that's what you guys are focused on investing in. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think places like Fountain Square and Bates Hendricks, Irvington. Near North Side, I mean, Mapleton, Fall Creek. I remember I bought my first duplex in Mapleton, Fall Creek. It was like 7 or 8 years ago, and you drove down 30th Street, and it was
scary.
Rough.
Yes, scary.
You drive down there now, it's completely different.
Yeah.
They've bulldozed all the vacant homes, the fire burnt homes are all gone. They've replaced them with 6 units, 8 units, and it's truly revitalizing, and it's happening fast. Areas now that are starting to change are South Broad Ripple. In fact, there's an article that just came out. I don't know if you saw that over the weekend about South Broad Ripple becoming a tech hub.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I think that's normal, because...
DevTown's down there. They've got an incubator there. There's a co-working space.
Yep.
It's a cool area,
Yep.
right? It's young. It's younger. The restaurant scene's strong. I would want to live there if I...
Yeah, Broad Ripple now is very expensive, but if you go to South Broad Ripple, it's very affordable.
And Broad Ripple, when 7 to 8 years ago, was one of those rental communities.
Correct.
It was one of those communities that you would buy to invest to rent because the younger kids would live there. And now it's a premium dollar place to have a home, right? I mean, people are going up, they're going out, they're bulldozing down, they're because the dollar per value has gone up so much, right? Carmel, it's just amazing what's going on there. I think I counted 4 cranes in Carmel the other day. I mean, just on that, on what's going on in Mona.
Yep.
Midtown.
That goes down the broader point.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, and then Fisher's is taking, the nickel plate lane and doing the exact same thing. I just talked to a buddy of mine who's developing a maker space. 100,000 square foot maker space in Fisher. So, and when we talk about Fishers, for those of us who are coming out of town, Fishers, Carmel, Zionsville, Westfield, that's the northern belt of Indy. And there's a lot of this tweener real estate that's now coming up in value because all the properties around them have come up, right? And those are creating those pockets of opportunity. Homestead in Carmel is one of those areas that's starting to flip, right? And if you like, Homestead had trailers. Now people are getting close to $300,000-$400,000 a home in homes adjoining and on the side and right in there. And so it's really amazing to watch this go. But this is probably something not that new of what's going on in the rest of the Midwest, right? I think what the country is figuring out is you don't have to live in New York to have a great job, to work for a top-line company, to even acquire VC dollars. The VC dollars are starting to find the Midwest because it's a great value. And I think what money follows money, right? So as real estate, as those businesses are finding those opportunities, the people who invest for those places, for those people to live, are finding those opportunities behind them. Would you agree?
Yeah, there's forums after forums out there about investing in Indianapolis, and it's taken shape. And we have conversations every day with new investors and people looking to partner. Now it's trying to find houses,
trying to find the deals, right?
It's just extremely competitive.
So the cost per acquisition has gone up, but the money and the return is still there.
I wouldn't say that's not like it was 5 years ago,
right?
So you have to be okay taking a little bit smaller return and doing more volume. That's why it's we talk about scale and building a business, and that's why it's become ultra important to increase your marketing dollars. Put people in place on your team to be able to do scale, because it's just not what it was, where you could buy one house 3 years ago and make a nice rip that takes you for the next quarter. Right. It doesn't happen anymore. Right.
So it's got a little bit more machine-like in building your business, right? The market's still got plenty of room to grow, though, because the city is really it's not landlocked, right? I mean, what's different than Indy than about a lot of cities is there's no water on any side. I mean, we tried to do a canal about 100 years ago, and that didn't work out really well. So Indianapolis creates this unique opportunity. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine that remembers when Broad Whipple at 62nd was the outside of the city. That was the far outside. Now, Carmel, Westfield, I think 168 right now, 168th Street is now considered the borderline end of the city. I mean, think about that, right? There's talk of how Pendleton and Fishers are merging into one. Pendleton and Anderson are growing into each other. Every single piece of dirt in Carmel is under contract.
Wow.
Every single piece of dirt. So what happens through regentrification? And again, I think this is a nationwide movement. As the Rust Belt learns, as people learn of this value in the Rust Belt. Detroit's going through this, by the way. Detroit is on its way back. Yeah. Detroit went from 6 million people at its peak in population down to 800,000. Do that. Comprehend that. I had a friend that does, one of our associates, that bought 100 houses for $100,000. 100 houses, and he's now they were all Victorian like houses. He was selling it on salvage, and now someone's come back to him and offered him $5,000 a lot for the house. I mean, right? So he's looking great. He already made his money. The market overreacted in its downturn, and it devalued it too low. And you have to have the courage to look where.
Which, by the way, that's what every market does when a downturn, overreaction.
Right.
But that's why nowadays you kind of sit back with a little bit of cash and hope it happens again, because it happens. It's
kind of a good segue for what you do with the people that you work with. I mean, and one of the things that Dustin does such a great job with in Ironclad, and one of the reasons I'm here with him is like he helps people understand how to invest in real estate that are business oriented. They probably got burned. I got burned. I had 6 properties. It was not a great experience for me. But what happened is, as I learned what Dustin does, and what his process and his methodology and what they were doing at Ironclad, I learned there was an opportunity for me to make money in this without spending a lot of time on it, but I couldn't be passive.
Right.
I had to be actively involved, I had to get engaged, and I had to really look at it differently, and that was kind of the paradigm shift that I made. And so, as we think about Indianapolis, as you think about what you're doing to diversify your income streams and your portfolio to really galvanize where you want to go with your future and protect what you built. That's really what you guys do here, and I think that's what's been awesome about this relationship is I've helped you kind of build your business. You've helped me get my head around how to build my portfolio, right? And so not a quick commercial for the what you guys do here, but it really is. It's a mindset change to understand what's going on in the Midwest. It's particularly what's going on in Indianapolis and the opportunities that we have here, and to understand how the growth of the economy is affecting the opportunities that are available to us in the real estate game, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities available out there. It's not just real estate. Or I should say single family real estate.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, I appreciate the kind of talking about what we do, but I mean, it's there's an opportunity out there to not become passive. And be able to buy tangible assets on discount, and even today you can buy them on discount.
Yep.
And create generational wealth for your family. And we try to help people do that and keep it as simple as possible. Show them how to do it. Help them help them do it. And we know how hard it is and scary it is to invest in out of state markets, and we just try to make it feel like you're doing it in your backyard.
Yeah. Well, there's great opportunity there, right? I mean, and I think that's one of the things that, you got to have a guide. You got to have somebody there that's going to help you along the way. Yeah, you got to have a team behind you. So, hey, thanks for letting us give you the quick commercial on Galvanize. But really, if you've got anything that you want to talk about that's affecting your growth business, that's affecting you as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a business owner, always feel free to reach us out on the Galvanize channel. We're looking for new things to talk about. We're looking for guests. It's kind of this the mission of the show, just to kind of hit that home, is galvanize your mindset for wealth, galvanize your mindset to grow your business, and then really galvanize your future. That's really what we're trying to do, is make your future strong enough to weather any storm. So thanks, brother.
Awesome. Thank you.